Niko reveals his future plans, device might be overrated, why EliGE is the key player for FaZe, Simple's Tier 3 debut, and the final results of Blast Bounty. Hello there friends, it's CS2 News Hub. Without further ado, let's get straight to it. And today we shall continue with the story we covered in the previous episode, the deaths of Yalla Esports, the organizers of Yalla Compass. In a recent HLTV investigation, it was revealed that the organization's owner, Klaus Kajetski, owes money not only to teams but also to his own employees. Kajetski reportedly ignored problems, delayed salaries regularly, withheld sponsor payments, and is now just dodging all claims, telling people to email Yalla instead. Here are the numbers provided by HLTV. Employees of Yalla are owed around $160,000 in payments from May to July of this year. Various esports teams are owed between $50,000 and $200,000 in prize money, including the MongolZ, Ninjas in Pyjamas, NAVI Junior, BB Team, and others. Casters and producers haven't been paid either. For example, Attorney J, the caster, never received his $35,000. On top of that, Kajetski violated agreements by firing the co-owner, leading to legal disputes and possible account freezes. He then hired a commercial director who spent $25,000, but he also never received his $35,000 salary. Currently, Kajetski is not responding to messages and just went rogue. The investigation's main goal is to expose the truth about him and damage his reputation. Interestingly, Yalla Esports had applied to host a CS major in 2027 or 2028, but their request was denied. And yeah, just to remind you, Yalla Esports is also owned by the Sheikhs, but this time the Dubai Sheikhs. They definitely have the money to pay out, so if they want to save their reputation, they definitely should. Sticking with the previously discussed topics, let's talk about NAVI Junior. Not long ago, their entire roster moved to FUT Esports, with the team's star Makazi now playing for the main lineup. Many wondered how long would it take for NAVI to bring back their academy team, and the wait didn't last long. They've announced open trials for NAVI Junior. Yeah, right guys, open trials, so you can do it too. If you are under 17 years old, have at least 3400 ELO on FACEIT, and you know English, and you also don't have any existing contracts with another orgs. So yeah, you've got to be almost twice younger than me and twice better at CS2. Hey guys, before we jump to the next news, let me just take a minute to tell you about our friends at ForceDrop. They're one of the oldest and most trusted case opening websites out there. These guys have been in the game for over 9 years. Whether you're into free cases, super cheap ones, or rare and risky drops, they've got it all. There are also tons of game modes to check out, battles, contracts, and my personal favorite, Upgrade, where you can turn a basic skin into a knife. They also run constant giveaways for those who deposit, with some seriously juicy prizes up for grabs. Plenty of deposit options too, including crypto. And if you use crypto, you will get an extra 3% bonus. And here's the best part, we've got an exclusive promo code for you, News Hub. Enter it on the site or just click the link in the pinned comment, and you will get a 40% bonus to your deposit, top-tier drops, and instant cash outs. That's what ForceDrop is about. Check it out and see for yourself. Speaking of young talents, we have to talk about the debut of Heroic's new sniper, who previously played for Spirit Academy, and he made quite an impression. In alkaren's first match, Heroic faced Passion UA in the CS Asia Championship qualifiers. On the first map, alkaren didn't have the best start, with only .81 rating, but on the next two maps, especially the decider, he was just outstanding. He finished his debut best of 3 with 1.07. Compared to Grix's first game, .92 against BIG, and a loss, alkaren's performance looks much more promising. Here he was the best player of the match, won the decider map almost single-handedly, and secured Heroic's spot at the tournament. So despite the critique from the community, it seems that Heroic may have finally found themselves a strong AWPer. The real test, however, will be how he performs against Spirit at EWC and in future events. Well, and now guys, speaking of Heroic, Heroic, you remember about a month ago when I posted their jersey during my face reveal? Well, that jersey is now in the trash, because it's been revealed that after the Esports World Cup, Heroic will lose their strongest player, and my favorite one. Another huge team activated a buyout clause on TN1R's contract, meaning that Esports World Cup will be his last event with the team. And yeah, Heroic already announced that xFlout is back on the roster. Although, here's the details about the transfer. So, according to Heroic's esports director, there were no plans to sell TN1R this early, but the buying club triggered his release clause, despite Heroic rejecting multiple transfer offers before. Yet again, there was one club mentioned in TN1R's contract that could buy him out. And at first, it seemed that TN1R would join G2, especially since the player himself posted a very specific photo of him together with Senpaias and so on it. And it seemed logical, you know? The struggle would be over for G2, but as it turned out, it will be the most unexpected and high-profile transfer of the year. I mean, Kyosuke to Falcons was known several months before the announcement, but TN1R to Team Spirit came out of the blue. It's not yet official, but HLTV confirmed that he will replace ZONT1X on the roster. Meanwhile, TN1R's buyout clause is rumored to be around $1,500,000. So, Spirit's first matches with TN1R will be at the upcoming Blast London, after Esports World Cup. It's interesting that Spirit decided to maximize their firepower in the new season, but it is kinda strange that ZONT1X, a support, is getting replaced by TN1R, an entry. My friends, what do you think about this transfer? Let us know in the comments below. Speaking of lower tier teams, we've got to talk about Simple, because he also made his sniper debut for the new team. In his first ever tier 3 match, he faced Cybershock. Overall, his performance for BCG was fairly average. Across 3 maps, he ended with a 1.01 rating and was basically the worst player on the team, even behind IGL Nexa. After the match, Simple said he experienced around 10 freezes due to the anti-cheat issues, but despite that, they still won the match. In his second match against Apogee, he looked a bit sharper, finishing with a 1.19. Hopefully, his numbers will keep improving, otherwise his plan to return to tier 1 might just fail. As Niko put it, he finds it crazy that Simple is even playing for BCG and hopes he leaves soon. But as they say, when you're at the bottom, there's only one way to go: up. Speaking of Niko, he opened up about his future. He said his biggest concern right now is Falcons' recent results. For him, it's far more important to achieve consistency than to win a single event, even if that event is a major. Also, Niko stated that in the future he will 100% become an IGL. Oops, that comment probably made Kixon a bit nervous, since it basically means that his spot in the team might not be guaranteed. And I also remind you that Kixon is 3 years younger than Niko. Hopefully that moment is still far off, especially with just 1 week until the Esports World Cup, while Niko is currently just relaxing in Paris instead of practicing. And while we're talking about the GOATs, Simple, Niko and others, we have to touch on an interesting point made by HLTV's chief editor, Professeur. We all know that Simple, ZywOo and even Donk are considered tier S players, but what about destabilize? Yeah, he was a core part of building the great Astralis era. He made the HLTV top 3 5 times, but can he really be called tier S? According to Professeur, not exactly. He believes destabilize's impact is often overrated, and his true level is more like A+, especially when you compare player stats of ZywOo, Simple, Donk and destabilize. I mean, yeah, sure, it sounds crazy, but just look at the numbers. He is kinda right. Guys, what do you think? Is destabilize overrated or not? Tell us in the comments below. Now, since we're on topic of key players, we have to talk about EliGE. In the previous episode, we mentioned the possible player swap between FaZe and Liquid, with twistzz going to FaZe and EliGE going to Liquid. The reverse swap. But how much would losing EliGE actually hurt FaZe? Turns out, guys, quite a lot. Let's start with the numbers, and it sounds crazy, but over the last 3 months, EliGE has been the second best T-side player in the world, only behind Donk. Can you imagine? I mean, yeah, that sounds wild, but it's the reality, which basically means any roster change would cost FaZe their key attacker. On top of that, EliGE's arrival forced Rain to change his role, and if twistzz comes back, Rain would have to return to entry fragging, a position he might have forgotten how to play. This would force the team to readapt once again, just as half a year ago, which will undoubtedly hurt results that are already shaky. It's also worth noting that Kerrigan and Rain are both at the tail end of their careers. Without stability, they could be just replaced. Yeah, guys, I know that the current FaZe clan is Kerrigan, but he can't be there forever. Plus, twistzz stats dropped after the switch to CS2, and it's unlikely that they will suddenly spike back up, especially since in Liquid he once had complete freedom to play as he wanted, and he still didn't deliver that much. So yeah, in the end, it seems like there might be only one reason for this change: if EliGE simply doesn't fit the team psychologically, and in that case, no stats will save him. Although, bros, we all know that EliGE is a hard-working player. In this, he resembles Robs. He likes to learn, to analyze, to tweak the settings and all that. But well, maybe Jonathan just wants to go back home to save the North American Counter-Strike. Well, and now to wrap things up on the topic of roster changes, Syrson has a new team, AM Gaming. Alongside the German AWPer, the roster includes Altax, Keto, Too High, and Dell. AM Gaming is just starting out there on the Tier 2, Tier 3 scene, so it will be interesting to see if they end up facing Simple somewhere in open or closed qualifiers. Now let's wrap up what analysts and casters are calling the most boring tournament of the year so far. Unfortunately, Blast Bounty didn't live up to expectations. In the first stage, underdogs couldn't do a thing against the top teams. At least the first day of stage 2 gave us some surprises. Astralis beat NAVI, VP took down FaZe, and most unexpectedly, Liquid handled Furia with ease. The second day of stage 2 was far less memorable. Legacy couldn't get past their rivals Vitality, Heroic even with a stand-in failed to beat Aurora, the MongolZ easily dispatched Pain, and Mouse just rolled over Bait. Now, all these winning teams that you see on your screens are headed to the LAN finals in Malta, where they will face each other for VRS points and almost $500,000. The big question is, who takes the trophy this time, especially considering Vitality weren't even planning to go all out. You know, that's not us, that's what Apex said. Although ZywOo still ended up as the best player of the group stage. Now, that's all for today, my friends. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop by in the comments below. I'm not saying goodbye for a long time. See you soon.